There's a kitchen in San Francisco where no human has cooked in 3 years. The stove still works. The knives are sharp. But the chef? The chef is a machine. It doesn't sweat. It doesn't taste. It doesn't remember the smell of garlic browning in olive oil on a Sunday morning. But it can prepare 10,000 dishes, instantly, perfectly, every single time. In 2023, a restaurant called Cali Express became the first fully automated kitchen in America. No line cooks, no sous chefs, no head chef screaming orders during dinner rush. Just robotic arms, AI-powered recipe databases, and algorithmic precision. The burgers? Consistent. The fries? Golden. The experience? Soulless. But here's what they don't tell you. This isn't just about fast food. This is about every kitchen, every chef, every culinary dream that begins with a knife, a flame, and a hunger to create something beautiful. Because while you were scrolling through food videos on your phone, artificial intelligence learned to cook better than most humans ever will. And it's not slowing down. According to a report by McKinsey, food preparation and service jobs face a 73% automation risk by 20s and 30. 73%. That's not a prediction. That's a countdown. And the clock is ticking louder every day. You see, cooking used to be sacred. It was art. It was chemistry. It was love translated into flavor. Your grandmother didn't follow recipes. She followed instinct. She tasted with her soul. But AI doesn't need a soul. It needs data. And it has more data than every cookbook ever written, combined, analyzed, and optimized in milliseconds. Right now, there are AI systems that can identify ingredients by sight, calculate nutritional content in real time, adjust seasoning based on humidity and altitude, and plate dishes with robotic precision that would make a Michelin star chef weep. Not from joy, from obsolescence. But let me ask you something. When was the last time you ate a meal that made you cry? Not because it was bad, but because it was so good, so perfectly imperfect, that it reminded you what it means to be human? That's what we're losing. Not just jobs, not just kitchens. We're losing the poetry of imperfection. Welcome to part 1. What makes this job safe or doomed? Let's talk about what cooking actually is. For thousands of years, it was survival. Fire plus food equals life. Then it became culture. Every dish told a story. Every recipe carried memory. Your mother's lasagna wasn't just pasta and cheese. It was Sunday dinners. It was laughter around a table. It was the way she hummed while stirring the sauce. But then something shifted. Cooking became an industry. Restaurants became businesses. And businesses, well, they love efficiency. They love consistency. They love cutting costs. And nothing cuts costs like a machine that never calls in sick, never asks for a raise, and never burns the risotto. In 2022, a company called Miso Robotics introduced Flippy, a robotic kitchen assistant that can flip burgers, fry chicken, and clean grills. It works 24 hours a day. It doesn't need breaks. It doesn't need benefits. And it costs less than a minimum wage worker over 5 years. Fast food chains across America started installing them. Quietly, efficiently, inevitably. But Flippy is just the beginning. There's an AI called Chef Watson, developed by IBM, that can create entirely new recipes by analyzing thousands of flavor compounds and cultural cuisines. It doesn't just follow recipes, it invents them. And some of them, they're extraordinary. Dishes no human would ever think to combine, flavors that shouldn't work but somehow do. Then there's Moly Robotics, a company that built a fully automated kitchen with robotic hands that can replicate the exact movements of professional chefs. They recorded Tim Anderson, a MasterChef winner, cooking crab bisque. Then they programmed the robot to do it exactly the same way. Same knife angle, same stirring motion, same plating technique. The result? Indistinguishable from the original. And here's the terrifying part. Once the robot learns a dish, it never forgets. It never has an off day. It never gets distracted. It never improvises because it's tired or uninspired. It just executes, flawlessly, forever. So what does that mean for chefs, for line cooks, for culinary students spending $50,000 on degrees, dreaming of opening their own restaurants someday? It means the rules just changed, and most of them don't even know it yet. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, there are over 2 million chefs and cooks in the United States alone. 2 million people whose livelihoods depend on their ability to prepare food better, faster, or more creatively than the next person. But what happens when the next person isn't a person at all? Let me tell you about Marcus. He's a sous chef in Austin, Texas. 28 years old, culinary school graduate. Works 60 hours a week for $40,000 a year. He loves cooking. He loves the chaos of a busy kitchen, the heat, the pressure, the satisfaction of sending out a perfect plate during a Saturday night rush. But last month, his restaurant installed an AI-powered prep station. It chops vegetables faster than any human. It measures ingredients with digital precision. It even suggests recipe modifications based on inventory levels and customer preferences. Marcus's job didn't disappear overnight. It just got smaller, quieter, less essential. And he's not alone. Across the country, kitchens are automating. Not because chefs are bad at their jobs, but because machines are better at certain tasks. And in an industry where margins are razor thin and labor costs are rising, better often means cheaper. But here's what the data doesn't show. Here's what the efficiency reports and cost-benefit analyses miss. Cooking isn't just about feeding people. It's about connecting with them. It's about the way a chef tastes a sauce and knows, just knows, it needs a pinch more salt. It's about the improvisation when an ingredient runs out. It's about the stories told through food. And AI? AI doesn't tell stories. It processes data. If your job follows a pattern, AI can replicate it. Faster, cheaper, and endlessly. But if your job requires intuition, emotion, and the kind of creativity that comes from lived experience, from heartbreak and joy and late nights staring at a pot of soup, wondering if you added too much time, then maybe, just maybe, you still have a chance. So here's the question. Can a machine ever truly cook? Or is it just assembling ingredients according to an algorithm? And more importantly, do customers even care? Because that's the real test, isn't it? If people can't taste the difference between a meal made by human hands and one made by robotic precision, then what's the point of the human? What's the point of the years spent learning technique, developing palate, understanding the soul of a dish? So, what happens to those who refuse to adapt? Let me take you back, way back, to a time before AI, before robots, before anyone even dreamed a machine could cook. Let me take you to the early 1800s when another revolution threatened to destroy an entire way of life. The Luddites. You've heard of them, right? Textile workers in England who smashed machines because those machines were taking their jobs. Weaving, which had been done by hand for centuries, was suddenly being done by steam-powered looms. Faster, cheaper, better. The Luddites fought back. They broke into factories at night and destroyed the machines. They wrote letters threatening factory owners. They believed, truly believed, that if they could just stop the machines, they could save their way of life. They failed. Not because they weren't brave, not because they weren't skilled, but because you can't stop progress by breaking its tools. The factories kept running, the machines kept weaving, and the Luddites? They became a cautionary tale, a symbol of futile resistance. But here's what history forgets. Those weavers weren't wrong to be afraid. Their jobs did disappear. Their skills did become obsolete. Entire communities built around textile work collapsed. Families starved. Children went to work in factories instead of learning trades from their fathers. The machines won, but the cost was human. Now fast forward to today, to kitchens, to chefs, to the 2 million people in America alone whose jobs are being quietly, efficiently automated. And ask yourself, are we repeating history? Or is this time different? Because here's the thing about creative destruction. It's a term economists love. It means that when old industries die, new ones are born. When horses were replaced by cars, we didn't mourn the blacksmiths for long. We celebrated the auto mechanics. When typewriters became obsolete, we didn't weep for the typists. We trained them to use computers. Creative destruction sounds clean, inevitable, almost poetic. But it's not clean for the people living through it. It's messy, it's painful. Oh, it's watching your craft, your passion, your identity become a line item in a cost-cutting report. So yes, AI is replacing chefs. But let's be honest about what that means. It means a line cook in Detroit who's been perfecting his knife skills for 15 years might lose his job to a robot that never needs to sharpen its blade. It means a pastry chef in Portland who wakes up at 4 in the morning to bake croissants might be replaced by a 3D food printer that can produce 100 croissants in an hour. But it also means something else. It means the nature of cooking is changing, and those who understand that, those who adapt, those who learn to work with AI instead of against it, they might just survive. Let me tell you about Elena. She's a private chef in Los Angeles. 5 years ago, she was working in a traditional restaurant, doing the same thing Marcus is doing now. Long hours, low pay, high stress. Then she saw the writing on the wall. She saw the robots coming. And instead of fighting them, she learned to use them. Now Elena uses AI to analyze her clients' dietary preferences, health goals, and flavor profiles. She uses machine learning algorithms to suggest recipes she never would have thought of on her own. She uses robotic prep tools to handle the tedious work, the chopping and measuring and timing, so she can focus on what machines can't do. The creativity, the presentation, the personal touch. Her income tripled, her stress levels dropped, and her clients, they love her more than ever. Because she's not just a chef anymore. She's a culinary artist who happens to use the most advanced tools available. That's the transformation. That's the hope hidden inside the fear. Because every technological revolution destroys jobs, yes, but it also creates new ones. Jobs we can't even imagine yet. Jobs that require human creativity, human empathy, human soul. Think about it. When photography was invented, painters thought they were doomed. Why would anyone commission a portrait when a camera could capture a face in seconds? But painting didn't die, it evolved. It became abstract, impressionist, surreal. It became art that a camera could never replicate. The same thing is happening in kitchens. AI can replicate recipes. It can optimize flavors. It can cook with precision. But it can't create meaning. It can't infuse a dish with memory. It can't make you taste your childhood in a single bite. That's the space where humans still win. That's the territory machines can't colonize, not because they lack the technology, but because they lack the humanity. So here's the truth. The chefs who will survive aren't the ones who cook the fastest or the most consistently. They're the ones who cook with purpose, with story, with soul. They're the ones who understand that food is more than fuel. It's culture, it's identity, it's love made edible. And that's something no algorithm can replicate. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Every machine replaces a task, but never a dream. So what do? How do you survive in a world where machines can cook 10,000 dishes instantly? How do you compete with perfection? You don't. You don't compete with machines on their terms. You compete on yours. You lean into what makes you irreplaceable: your humanity, your creativity, your ability to connect with people in ways that transcend flavor and technique. Here's the playbook. Here's how you adapt. First, audit your job. Look at what you do every day and ask yourself, honestly, which parts could be automated? Which tasks are repetitive? Which skills are pattern-based? Because those are the parts that are most at risk. If you're spending 8 hours a day doing something a machine could do better, you're not a chef. You're a placeholder, and placeholders get replaced. But here's the good news. Once you identify the automatable tasks, you can start focusing on the irreplaceable ones: the creative decisions, the customer interactions, the storytelling, the parts of cooking that require intuition and emotion, and the kind of intelligence that doesn't come from data. Second, learn to use AI as a tool, not as a threat. This is critical because AI isn't going away. It's not a trend. It's not a fad. It's the future of every industry, including food. So you have two choices. You can resist it and become obsolete, or you can embrace it and become invaluable. Think about it like this. When electric mixers were invented, bakers didn't throw them away and insist on mixing by hand. They used them. They let the machines handle the grunt work so they could focus on the artistry. AI is the same thing. It's a tool, a powerful one, and the chefs who learn to wield it will have an advantage over those who don't. There are AI platforms right now that can help you design menus based on seasonal ingredients, customer preferences, and nutritional goals. There are apps that can analyze food costs and suggest ways to reduce waste. There are robots that can handle prep work so you can spend more time on creativity and less time on drudgery. Use them, master them, make them work for you. Third, build, create, own. This is the most important part, because the real threat isn't that AI will replace chefs. It's that AI will replace employees. But it's much harder to replace owners. If you're working in someone else's kitchen, following someone else's recipes, cooking someone else's vision, then yes, you're vulnerable. But if you're building your own brand, creating your own dishes, owning your own business, then you have leverage, you have control, you have a future. Look at the chefs who are thriving right now. They're not working the line at chain restaurants. They're building personal brands. They're creating content. They're teaching classes. They're writing cookbooks. They're opening pop-ups and food trucks and subscription meal services. They're using social media to connect directly with customers. They're building communities around their food. And here's the beautiful part. AI can't do that. AI can't build a personal brand. It can't tell your story. It can't make people fall in love with your journey. That's all you. That's all human. So if you're a chef, or if you're thinking about becoming one, here's my advice. Don't just learn to cook. Learn to create. Learn to market. Learn to build. Learn to own. Because the future doesn't belong to the best cooks. It belongs to the best entrepreneurs. Fourth, specialize. Find your niche. Because in a world where AI can cook 10,000 dishes, the chefs who will stand out are the ones who can cook one dish better than anyone else. The ones who become known for something specific, something unique, something that carries their signature. Maybe it's a regional cuisine that's underrepresented. Maybe it's a dietary niche like vegan fine dining or allergen-free baking. Maybe it's a fusion style that no one else is doing. Whatever it is, find it, own it. Become the person people think of when they think of that thing. Because AI is great at being generalist. It can cook everything. but it can't be the best at something. It can't have a specialty that's tied to identity and passion and years of obsessive focus. That's your advantage. And finally, never stop learning. This is non-negotiable because the world is changing faster than ever. The tools are evolving, the technologies are advancing, and if you're not learning, you're falling behind. Take classes, watch tutorials, experiment with new techniques, study food science, learn about nutrition, understand the business side of restaurants, master social media, build your skills in areas that complement cooking but go beyond it. Because the chefs who will thrive in the age of AI aren't just cooks. They're artists, scientists, entrepreneurs, storytellers, and technologists, all rolled into one. They're Renaissance professionals. And that's what the future demands. Adaptation isn't just intelligence, it's survival written in human code. So here we are, at the end of the story, or maybe it's the beginning. Because the question isn't whether AI will replace chefs, it's whether chefs will let themselves be replaced. There's a kitchen in San Francisco where no human has cooked in 3 years. But there are 10,000 other kitchens where humans are still cooking, still creating, still pouring their hearts into every dish. And those kitchens, they're not going anywhere. Because here's the secret that AI will never understand. Cooking isn't just about feeding people. It's about nourishing them. It's about creating moments. It's about the way a perfect meal can make you forget your problems for an hour. It's about the way a familiar flavor can transport you back to your grandmother's kitchen, to a time when the world was simpler and love tasted like butter and sugar. AI can replicate a recipe, but it can't replicate a memory. It can optimize a flavor profile, but it can't make you cry with nostalgia. It can cook 10,000 dishes, but it can't cook the one dish that reminds you why you're alive. That's the difference. That's the line machines can't cross. Not because they lack the capability, but because they lack the context. They lack the lived experience. They lack the heartbreak and the joy and the messy, beautiful, imperfect humanity that makes food more than just sustenance. So, yes, the world is changing. Yes, AI is coming for jobs. Yes, kitchens are automating. But the chefs who understand that cooking is an act of love, an expression of culture, a bridge between people, those chefs will always have a place. Because we don't just eat to survive, we eat to connect. We eat to celebrate. We eat to remember. And no machine, no matter how advanced, can replace that. Think about the last truly great meal you had. Not just good, great. The kind of meal that stays with you, that becomes a story you tell, that makes you smile years later when you remember it. What made it great? Was it the perfect temperature of the steak, the precise ratio of ingredients, the flawless execution? Maybe, but probably not. Probably it was great because of the context, the company, the moment, the way the chef came out and told you about the dish, the way the server recommended the wine, the way the whole experience made you feel seen, cared for, valued. That's what AI can't do. It can't care. It can't make you feel valued. It can't create an experience that transcends the food itself. And that's the future of cooking. Not automation, not efficiency, but humanity. The chefs who survive will be the ones who understand that their job isn't just to prepare food, it's to create experiences, to build relationships, to tell stories, to make people feel something. So here's my challenge to you. If you're a chef, ask yourself, what am I cooking for? Is it just a paycheck? Is it just a skill? Or is it something deeper? Is it a calling, a passion, a way of expressing who you are and what you believe? Because if it's just a job, then yes, AI will probably replace you. But if it's a calling, if it's a passion, if it's a part of your identity, then you have something machines can never take. You have purpose. And purpose is the ultimate competitive advantage. Audit, adapt, build, own. Humanity isn't ending. It's just beginning again. The robots are in the kitchens. The algorithms are writing recipes. The machines are cooking faster and more consistently than humans ever could. But they're not cooking better. Not really. Because better isn't just about precision. It's about meaning. And meaning is a human invention. So the next time you eat a meal, pay attention. Notice the difference between food that was made by a machine and food that was made by a human who cares. Notice the way one fills your stomach and the other fills your soul. Notice the way one is efficient and the other is art. And then ask yourself, which world do you want to live in? A world where everything is optimized, automated, and perfect? Or a world where things are messy and imperfect and beautifully human? Because that's the choice we're making right now. Not just in kitchens, but in every industry, every job, every aspect of life. We're deciding what we value: efficiency or humanity, perfection or soul, machines or meaning. And I know which side I'm on. I'm on the side of the chef who burns the garlic but makes you laugh. I'm on the side of the grandmother who doesn't measure anything but somehow makes the best cookies you've ever tasted. I'm on the side of the line cook who's exhausted and underpaid but still takes pride in every plate. I'm on the side of humanity. Messy, imperfect, beautiful humanity. And if you believe that too, if you believe that the future isn't about replacing humans, but empowering them, if you believe that cooking is more than just a task, that it's an art, a science, a love letter written in flavor, then I need you to do something. I need you to fight for that future. Not by smashing machines, not by resisting progress, but by being so undeniably, irreplaceably human that no algorithm can compete. By cooking with purpose, by creating with passion, by building something that matters, because the robots are coming. But they're not the end of the story. They're just the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter where humans and machines work together, where technology amplifies creativity instead of replacing it, where the best of both worlds creates something neither could achieve alone. That's the future I believe in. That's the future worth fighting for. So subscribe if you believe in human evolution, not extinction. Subscribe if you believe that the soul of cooking can never be automated. Subscribe if you believe that the future belongs to those who adapt, who create, who refuse to be replaced. Because this isn't the end, it's just the beginning. And the best dishes, the ones that will define the next generation of cooking, haven't been created yet. They're waiting. Waiting for a human with a dream and a knife and the courage to create something the machines never could. The AI chef can cook 10,000 dishes instantly, but it can't cook the one dish that matters, the one that tells your story, the one that carries your soul, the one that reminds us all why we're human. That dish, that's yours to create. So get in the kitchen and cook like your humanity depends on it. Because maybe, just maybe, it does.